Stop. Just for one moment. Stop everything. Before you scroll, before you skip ahead, before the part of your mind that has seen 100 videos like this, one tells you that you already know what is coming. I need you to notice something that is happening right now. Inside you, not on the screen. Inside you, there is a stillness settling over your spirit at this exact moment. You can feel it, can you not? Something quiet and steady, like a hand being placed gently on your shoulder in a crowded, noisy room. That is not your imagination running. That is not an emotional reaction to music or atmosphere. That is the part of you that was specifically designed to recognize my voice, responding to a word that was not written for a general audience. This word was written for you. You did not find this by scrolling. You were guided here. And before we go a single step further, I need you to receive that. Because what is about to happen in the next few minutes is not just a video. This is a divine appointment, a moment that was ordained before the week began, before the year began, before you were born into the life you are living. And the reason this moment matters so much is this. What I am about to say to you is going to change the lens through which you see yourself, your situation, your past, and the road that is directly ahead of you. Are you ready? Because here is the first thing I need you to know. The very thing that almost broke you is the same thing that qualified you. Read that again, slowly. The very thing that almost broke you, the season you have been moving through, that has pressed every reserve you had down to nearly nothing. The weight you have been carrying while showing everyone around you. A version of yourself that looks more together than you actually feel. The prayers you have kept praying, even when the silence on the other end felt deafening. The belief you have held onto even when every circumstance around you was giving you reasons to release it, that exact thing. That specific season, that particular road you have been walking, it has not been working against you. It has been working in you, and the work it has been doing is now finished. What has been built inside you through the hardest season of your life is now ready to carry the weight of the greatest breakthrough you have ever experienced. This is not motivational language. This is not a spiritual pep talk designed to make you feel better for 20 minutes and then fade out by the time you get to your car. This is the word of the Father to the child who has been faithful in the hardest season of their life. And it is time for that faithfulness to be met with something tangible, something real, something that can only be described as the hand of God moving in your specific situation. This is your moment. Do not leave. Before we go deeper into what God is releasing into your life right now, I want to ask you for one small thing. If those first words created any kind of movement in your spirit, any sense that this message found you at the right time, press the like button right now, not as a social media action, as a personal declaration that says, I am here, I am open, I am receiving what heaven is releasing today. And if you are not yet a part of this community, subscribe right now. Because what is spoken here is not a one-time encounter. This is an ongoing conversation between God and the people He has placed in this space. What you are about to receive today is only the beginning. Subscribe so that you never miss what is coming next. Now let us go deeper, because the part that follows is the part that is going to make sense of everything. Let me tell you what I have seen in you during this season, not the version of you that exists in the presence of other people. Not the version you present at work, in social settings, on any platform where a curated image is what gets shown to the world. I am talking about the version of you that exists when all of that falls away. The version of you that exists at 2 in the morning when the house has gone quiet and your mind refuses to follow it into rest. The version that exists at the kitchen sink when a song comes through a speaker and for no reason you can fully explain, the tears arrive uninvited. The version that exists in your car in the parking lot, before you go inside somewhere, when you sit for a moment and allow yourself to feel what you spend every other part of your day managing not to feel. I have seen that version of you every single time. I have seen you choose to keep going on the days when stopping would have felt like relief. I have seen you hold your tongue in conversations where you had every right to say what was building up inside you, because you chose peace over being right. I have seen you show up consistently for the people who depend on you, even on the days when no one was showing up for you in the same way. I have seen you intercede in prayer for your family members, your friends, the people placed on your heart, while privately carrying a load that has been slowly and quietly pressing the lightness out of your ordinary days. You have been faithful in the silence, and heaven has been recording every single moment of it. I want you to understand something that I know has the potential to change the way you interpret this entire season. Every prayer you have prayed that seemed to disappear upward into the ceiling without any response. Those prayers did not disappear. They are in front of me right now, every single one of them. The ones you prayed in full sentences, the ones with scripture attached, the ones with confidence and clarity and faith that felt genuinely strong, and the ones you prayed in fragments, barely more than a breath, because a full sentence was more than you had left at that moment. I heard all of them with equal attention. The nights you cried yourself to sleep, I was in that room with you. The mornings you had to give yourself a quiet internal pep talk before your feet touched the floor. Before you could face the day ahead, I was already prepared with the grace you would need before you ever asked for it. The moments when you felt invisible to every person in your life, not dramatically invisible, just quietly unseen, doing what needed to be done without recognition or acknowledgement. You have never been invisible to me, not for 1 second of your life. I know the specific weight some of you have been carrying into this moment. There is a financial situation you have not shared with anyone close to you because you are afraid of what their concern or their questions or their judgment would feel like on top of everything else you are already managing. There is a relationship in your life that is under a quiet but real strain, and you are not fully sure whether it can hold. And that uncertainty is living in the back of your mind, in every room you walk through. There is something happening in your body that you have been trying not to give too much mental space to. But it surfaces in the quiet moments and creates a low current of worry that never fully goes off. There is a dream, one you have had for a long time, one that felt real and alive at some point in your past. And the distance between where you are and where that dream lives has grown so wide in recent seasons that you have started to have the interior conversation about whether it is time to let it go. Whether it was ever really yours, whether you were reading the signal correctly in the first place. Whatever the specific weight is, I know it. I see it with full clarity, and I want you to hear this clearly. Not one piece of what you are carrying has escaped my attention. Not one prayer has bounced back, unanswered simply because I was too occupied to hear it. Not one tear you have cried has landed unwitnessed. You have not been abandoned in this season. You have been accompanied through something that required more of you than anything you had ever walked through before. And the evidence of your faithfulness is not just visible to me. It is registered in the very fiber of who you have become. Your quiet faithfulness in the hardest season is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen you do. Now I need to address something that has been living in you as a question that you have not always felt free to ask out loud. Why the waiting if you are loved, if you are seen? If every prayer has been heard, why has breakthrough felt so consistently just out of reach? Why do you watch others receive answers to prayers that appear smaller than yours? Why has the silence stretched into weeks and months? And for some of you, years. Why has doing everything right not produced the results that should follow from doing everything right? I want to answer that question because you deserve an answer, and I want to give you one. You have been reading my silence as absence. You have been reading the delay as denial. You have been reading the wilderness as punishment. And I need to tell you directly, none of those interpretations are accurate. Not one of them. Your wilderness is not your punishment. It is your classroom. Let me show you what a wilderness actually produces. It strips away the noise that fills ordinary life. It removes the distractions that make depth difficult to develop. It creates a kind of interior quiet that cannot be manufactured in comfortable seasons. And in that quiet, things grow that can only grow there. Character grows there, the kind that holds under pressure and does not collapse when the weight increases. Depth grows there, the kind that makes your words carry weight when you speak them. Trust grows there, not the easy, surface-level trust that comes from a stretch of things going well, but the real, tested, resilient trust that has been pressed and has held. I want to walk you through something. Think about the people in Scripture whose lives became the most extraordinary testimonies of my faithfulness. Think about Moses, before the burning bush, before the parting of the sea, before the deliverance of an entire nation. There were 40 years in a desert, not a spiritual retreat. A desert, a place where his former life had ended and his purpose had not yet begun. A place of profound in-between. I did not take him there because I had forgotten him. I took him there because the man who could lead a nation could not be built anywhere else. Think about Joseph, the dreamer, the beloved son, the one who was given visions of his future from a young age. Before the fulfillment of those dreams, there was a pit his own brothers threw him into. There was slavery in a foreign land. There was a prison cell for a crime he did not commit. Years of circumstances that from the outside looked like the story had gone completely sideways. But what was happening on the inside of Joseph in those years was the formation of a character that could hold the weight of a nation's survival without cracking under it. Think about David, the king, the man after my own heart before the throne. There were years of hiding in caves, years of being hunted, years of waiting for a promise that had been spoken but not yet fulfilled. That wilderness did not produce a bitter man. It produced a worshipper. The Psalms that have carried millions of people through their own dark nights were not written in a palace. They were written in caves. Now look at your own life. Look at who you were when this season began. Look at who you are right now, in this moment. Look at the compassion you carry for people who are hurting that you could not have carried before you walked through your own version of hurt. Look at the wisdom you have. Not the kind that comes from reading, but the kind that comes from surviving. Look at the faith that has been stripped of performance and pretense and has become something honest and real, something that actually functions in the hard moments rather than only in the easy ones. You are not the same person who entered this season, not even close. And that transformation has not been random or incidental. It has been intentional, specifically tailored to the exact weight of purpose that is about to be placed in your hands. The word that I spoke through, Isaiah says it this way. The word that I spoke through the prophet, Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10, says this, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." I want you to stay with those final words. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. That is not a promise designed for someone who is doing well and simply needs a little encouragement. That is a promise designed for someone in the middle of a hard, long, confusing season, who needs to know that the ground beneath them is held by something stronger than their own ability to hold on. That is the promise that has been over your life throughout this entire wilderness period, whether you could feel it or not. And now, that same righteous right hand is about to lift you forward. The depth of your waiting is directly proportional to the weight of what is coming. Heaven does not prepare you for small things. Now I want to speak specifically about what is being released into your life in this season. Something is shifting. You may not have full sensory confirmation of it yet. The circumstances around you may still look largely unchanged. But in the realm where prayers are received and answers are dispatched, where seasons are established and destinies are activated, something is moving on your behalf with clear and specific intentionality. I want you to receive this not as general spiritual encouragement. I want you to receive it as a specific, targeted word over your specific, particular life. The doors that closed against you are not rejections. They are redirections to something your mind cannot yet fully imagine. Every path that seemed to come to a dead end, every opportunity that fell through at the last moment after you had allowed yourself to hope for it, every plan that dissolved despite your best effort and preparation, every door that shut before you could get through it. I need you to change the frame through which you are looking at those experiences. They were not failures. They were not signs that you are not qualified for a good life. They were navigation. The closing of doors that would have taken you somewhere smaller, somewhere less aligned, somewhere that would have required you to shrink into a version of yourself that was less than what I designed. And now, in this season, I am opening something that no human hand can close. Not because you have arrived at some level of spiritual achievement that unlocks the door, but because the appointed time has come, because the preparation is complete, because you are ready, even if you do not feel ready. And readiness that is felt is not the same as readiness that is real. I am moving in your finances in this season, not through a formula you have to execute correctly, not because you have finally said the right words in the right prayer, with the right level of faith, but because I am going before you into rooms and opportunities and connections that are not yet visible to you from where you are standing. I am releasing provision from directions you have not been watching. Favor is being activated in your financial life that is going to produce results that you will not be able to fully attribute to your own effort, because they will clearly exceed what your effort alone could have produced. That is on purpose. I want you to know it was me. I am moving in your relationships in this season. The conversations that need to happen between you and specific people in your life, they are finding their timing. The right words are being placed in the right moments. Hearts that have been defended and guarded are being made ready to open. The bridge building that you have not known how to begin is going to begin. And it is going to feel more natural than you feared. Family healing is coming. The kind that does not just restore surface-level pleasantry, but goes down to the roots of where things fractured and brings genuine wholeness. I am moving in your health in this season. I know the specific things in your body that you have been managing and monitoring and quietly worrying about. I am speaking to those things with authority right now. Restoration is the word over your physical life in this season, not maintenance. Restoration strength returning to tired places, healing flowing into areas that have been under pressure, a level of vitality returning to your daily experience that is going to make you feel like yourself in ways that you have missed. I am moving in your purpose in this season, the calling that has felt dormant, the gifts that have felt suppressed, the sense of assignment that has been waiting for the right environment and the right timing that is activating. The doors through which your purpose will walk are already being built and positioned. The connections you need in order to move into the next expression of who you were made to be are already being orchestrated. In this coming season, you are going to look back at this moment and understand clearly that this was the pivot point. Not a moment of dramatic supernatural spectacle, but this moment, the quiet moment when you were willing to stop and receive a word that heaven had been holding specifically for you. Favor is not coming to your life. Favor is already in motion. Your assignment is simply to step into its current. I need to address something directly, because somewhere in this season, In the accumulation of hard days and unanswered questions and moments of feeling like you were invisible to the very God you were crying out to, you have started to carry a smaller story about who you are. Not a story you would say out loud necessarily, but one that lives in the background. The one that says you are not quite the kind of person for whom remarkable things happen. The one that says the big breakthroughs are for other people, more qualified people, people who have their faith and their lives more fully assembled than you do. The one that says your best days were probably behind you, or at least your window for certain things has likely closed. I need you to let go of that story, not because it feels good to release it, but because it is not true. And living inside a story that is not true is one of the most costly things a person can do. Here is who you actually are. You are a chosen one, and I want to be precise about what that means, because it is not what many people think it means. You were chosen not because you are perfect. You were chosen because you said yes when everything in you wanted to say no. You kept going when the rational response to your circumstances would have been to stop. You kept believing when the evidence around you was consistently pointing in a different direction. You kept showing up, kept praying, kept loving the people in your life, kept performing the ordinary acts of faithfulness that no one was applauding, and that felt some days like they were producing nothing visible. That is not weakness dressed up to look like strength. That is actual strength. The kind that is forged in the only way it can be, by being tested. Before the world was formed, before your parents knew you would exist, God saw you fully every high point, every low point, every detour, and with complete knowledge of all of it, He chose you. Not despite the hard parts, because of all of it. What you carry is not accidental. You are uniquely wired, through both your gifts and your wounds, to carry something this generation specifically needs. Your story is not a liability, it is your most powerful credential. And the places where you feel most insufficient are often exactly where God's grace is most actively at work, because His grace is designed to function precisely where human capacity runs out. The reason this season has been so relentlessly hard is this. The intensity of the opposition you have faced is directly proportional to the significance of what God has placed inside you. The enemy does not deploy persistent, targeted strategies against lives that carry minimal impact. The fact that the opposition has been this sustained, and this specific, is not evidence that you are losing. It is evidence that what you carry is considered a serious enough threat to be worth the effort. The enemy's entire strategy was to wear you down before the breakthrough arrived. But that strategy has failed. You are still here. And what was meant to be your story's lowest point is the floor God is launching you from. The season of testing is over. The season of overflow has begun. 4 specific actions are given in response. First, speak it out loud. Declare with your actual voice that you receive what heaven is releasing and that your new season begins today. Second, write down 3 specific things you are trusting God for. Because specificity is one of the most honest expressions of faith, and a written record lets you track how He moves toward each one. Third, choose one act of release, whether it is a difficult conversation, genuine forgiveness of a real wound, or letting go of the story that says things cannot change. Fourth, sow generosity in some form today, whether financial, time, or intentional encouragement. Because giving from a place of trust, rather than surplus, opens something no strategy alone can produce. Your next step does not have to be big. It simply has to be forward. A specific blessing is then spoken over every area of life, over the mind. Mental noise, anxiety, and circular thinking are being broken, replaced with clarity, wisdom, and creative flow. Over the body, deep exhaustion is being addressed at its source. Vitality is returning. And physical restoration is coming as one of the first visible signs that the season has changed. Over relationships, loneliness is being replaced. Strained connections are entering healing, and the right people are being drawn near. Over finances, the cycle of barely enough is being broken. Provision is coming from unexpected sources, and abundance is replacing the management of scarcity. Over purpose, dormant gifts are being stirred. The next step is becoming clear, and the door opening now was built specifically for who you have become through this season. Over the future, real anchored hope is replacing despair. And the story being written over your life is one that will become undeniable evidence that God is still doing what only He can do. God is releasing things into your life that go far beyond what you could produce on your own, so expand your expectations. A prayer is offered over the listener, covering every area of life: physical healing and rest, financial breakthrough and provision from unexpected sources, restored and renewed relationships, clarity and courage to walk in God-given purpose, and a deep, unshakable peace even before circumstances change. The message closes with a call to action. Like the video as a personal marker, type overflow in the comments as a declaration of receiving this new season, and subscribe to stay connected to the community. The final word is one of assurance: you were never forgotten, not in your hardest or quietest moments. Something has already shifted inside you today. Your breakthrough has already been dispatched from heaven. You are not waiting to be chosen. You were marked before the foundation of the world. Go walk in it. The best of your story is still being written.